Kyle Heffley with Das Beer Show, and I'm sitting here with Matt Santelli and Joe Walton. Matt is the operations guy here at Gizmo Brew Works, and Joe is the brewer. Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of the brewery, where people can find you,
Sure.
things like that.
Well, we're located Glenwood Avenue up near the airport off of Triangle Drive. If you know where Umstead Park is, in between Umstead Park and 540, the only traffic light between those two. We've been here for about a year and a half. Before this, there was another brewery that we basically, they were on their way out, and we basically took them over, cleaned house, and started a new brewery.
Well, they were a lot smaller than you are now, right?
They are. We basically took over all their equipment. They had a 2-barrel brew house, and they had 3 4-barrel fermenters. Right now, we're up to a 7-barrel brew house. We have 3 7-barrel fermenters and 2 15s. And we're rapidly expanding from there.
So things are going good.
Well, they're doing all right.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, why you have a day job?
Yes.
You're doing well in your day job.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to open up a brewery and work your ass off?
Well, I guess what ended up happening, a bunch of us were in the area. There was a team of several of us. When Roth was here, this became kind of our local watering hole, I guess, after work, because we were all based in this general area or down the street, or this was on our way home. So as they kind of went out of the picture, a bunch of us said, hey, we could do this. Most of us were avid home brewers at the time. Most of us, well, at least avid drinkers, if not avid home brewers, all of us.
So knowledge of beer is important.
No, yeah. It was, yeah. So it's been complicated as it's been complicated as we've expanded, but it's been exciting. It's been a whole lot of work though. So, yeah.
Okay, and Joe's the brewer. So is this your first brewing gig, or did you brew somewhere else before?
No, it's my first commercial brewing gig. I homebrewed for a while, and then came here on a tour actually as I got more into the beer industry, and heard Brian, our president, giving a tour and mentioned that one of our previous brewers took interns often, and so I sent him an email and asked if he needed some help from time to time. He sent me an email back saying, I need you at least a day a week, but come on in. I think it was 5 o'clock on a Friday morning, and I'm like, what did I sign up for? What did I get myself into? I've never liked early mornings, and I came in here that morning and had a great time and kept coming back. And as we, Gizmo continued to grow, they needed an assistant brewer, and I got hired on and just worked my way up from there.
Nice. So as a home brewer moving to a commercial system, what were some of the challenges and differences? And I mean, the process is the same, but obviously you're using industrial equipment.
Right. It's funny because now I've brewed more on the commercial setup than I actually have at home at this point, just after months here. And
I don't know too many home brewers that brew 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah. It's nice. It would be very difficult to do at home, but because of that, I'm actually more comfortable now in the commercial system. But initially, a lot of the concept, a lot of like CO2, for instance, at home, there's limited uses as far as the actual brewing process unless you have really nice equipment. So learning how to move beer from one vessel to another using CO2 and that being in a closed system versus siphoning from one pot to another. Just the size of the batches. I went home last week to brew a prototype of our upcoming, like a test batch of our upcoming black IPA. And I'm used to using a large digital scale with pounds and pounds of hops here, and I get home and the recipe calls for like 0.3 ounces of a certain hop, and I'm like, I don't even know how to weigh that out. And it's like this little Dixie cup, and it's like 7 hop pellets in this cup. So just the volume of everything, and obviously a lot more grain. But once you learn the system, and a lot of it, like I said, is how the beer flows and setting up piping basically with hoses going from here to here and here to here. And another big thing for me was learning how pumps work. I mean, it's a simple concept overall, but just incorporating that, because when I homebrewed, I didn't have a nice single tier setup with pumps and stuff like that. So that was new to me.
Well, I mean, so that brings up a question for me. So I have a pump on my homebrew system, a single tier 3 vessel system, but it's not a self-priming pump. So I have to lift my system's basically up off the ground, so I can keep my pump lower, so that the work can flow to the pump, and then once it's in the pump, then it works.
Right.
Are your pumps self-priming, or?
They are not. I have to.
So you have to do the same thing,
yeah,
basically.
that's from the
Okay.
pump.
Well, all of our tanks are elevated enough we don't have to actually physically lift the fermenter. That would.
Well, I don't physically lift this fermenter. It's up on bricks.
No,
yeah.
The way we prime is bring the wort, to the input basically, and then kind of unscrew the output slightly to fill that air pocket with beer, and then set it up and get it going. But yeah, the first day I was here, it's like, don't cavitate the pump, and I'm like, I don't even know what cavitate means, much less how to do that to this pump.
I know my pump starts a screaming noise when it
Yeah.
cavitates. It's pretty
This
loud.
one does too. You know it once you do it, but
Yeah.
So just adjustments like that and getting comfortable with stuff like that.
Cool.
Well, I'll tell you too, Joe's got a lot of experience in there too, because last year we put out about 400 barrels, or within the last year we've done about 400 barrels of beer.
In the last week?
Within the last year.
Oh, year. Okay, that makes more
last
sense.
Week. Yeah, way more sense. But considering we've only had a couple batches on our new 7 barrels, almost all of that was on our 2-barrel system. So in the last year we had to brew 200 times to make 400 barrels of beer. So
which is a lot of work, but great practice.
That's a lot of brewing for a brewery.
Absolutely. So you mentioned you did a test batch on so 5 gallons, right?
Yeah, that was a 5-gallon. Yeah, I've got a 10-gallon system now at the house.
Okay.
But yeah.
So scaling up from a 5-gallon to a 2-barrel, which was your original system, doesn't seem like that much of a challenge. But scaling up to a 7-barrel, I mean, do you find you have to alter the recipes a lot to do that, or?
We're actually learning that now. The first one we brewed on the new system was a new recipe, so we could, get acquainted with it without having to worry about, matching something that is already expected. And we, basically went into Beersmith and put in the variables we could control and what we thought, and estimated our efficiency, and we nailed our target gravity, dead on.
Nice.
The Wasp was the first one we brewed that we had to actually scale up, which the way the timing worked out, it had to be that way. I would have, preferred to have done something else first, simply because hop utilization tends to be one of the major variables when scaling up.
Wasp is your IPA, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our hoppiest beer. But we went into Beersmith again and tweaked it and did some research on different ways that you can adjust these variables and whatnot. And it's not on the fermenter yet. I still don't know about the actual bitterness, but the gravity, once again, we were able to hit dead on.
So the double Wasp didn't happen from the 7-barrel, the 7-barrel
No,
system?
that was brewed on the 2.
Okay, cool.
So it was 3 individual batches that went in.
Well, this is an excellent segue to try that beer, because obviously,
Wasp.
yeah.
Gotcha.